Alright, so this is the first time we've actually got the audio working, and we have an application to mix both the audio and the video. Diana, would you like to say something?
Not really. I'm just glad everything's finally working.
Now, would you like to describe what this process has been like? Because tonight we are not going to get to this podcast. We might not get to the podcast for a couple of days. This was just so we could show that we're using the Nikon. We've got a room set up for it. We've got our mics set up. And can you explain this process that it's taken to get to this point?
It's just trying to figure out the right programs and figuring out what works best with the software that we're using. What you doing? Oh, okay. You know what I can hear in the background?
Yeah, that's the touching of this microphone. Guys, this stuff is top notch.
I know, we can hear the washer going. It's fucking weird.
That's that sound. So originally we were gonna talk about, what is to be anti-fragile and what is anti-fragility. So it's things that gain from disorder. So we've still got to talk about that. The difference between how we react to randomness, how things react to randomness, whether it be, an object or a system or a human. Anyways, so I'm not going to go into that because that is for the podcast. I don't know. I was listening to podcasts and just different philosophical beliefs and both ancient and Roman, Greeks, and also modern philosophies, and that's kind of where I got this. How to be, to be anti-fragile. What does that mean? Something fragile breaks under uncertainty. Something robust, which is in the middle of the spectrum, doesn't really care too much. It's kind of indifferent is the right word I'm looking for. And then something anti-fragile is something that becomes stronger through uncertainty and randomness. So it's kind of one of the examples that I'll talk about is, someone in the corporate ladder who's working their way up, who's, working in a job that they have to kind of walk on eggshells and go through red tape, and, be dressed a certain way and follow kind of structure and rules and guidelines. Someone in that position is fragile by this definition because they are not open, they are not welcoming to randomness and uncertainty and kind of, the darkness, that is, uncertainty. Whereas someone self-employed is kind of like indifferent to what happens, they're going on to the next thing and they're doing something every day, and it's kind of like almost being in a limbo with life. And then there's somebody who's anti-fragile who can become stronger from failure and randomness and events. But anyways, we've been up really late trying to set this stuff up, and I want Diana, I want you to really explain what the process was, if you can even recall what the other night was like. Because first Chris came over, we were going to do a podcast with Chris, and we had this subject that we talked about, and it was just Aspen was crying, and there was stuff going on, and my parents came over, and it was just thing after thing. And then when we finally got to the software, it took hours, it felt like. And then we have to figure out, how do you mix these things. And so
I think the most complicated thing was trying to figure out how to combine both mics to record. Because I feel like most people, when they do podcasts, a lot of people do them by themselves. So you don't really, I don't know. I feel like it's so complicated to have both of them linked, so that people can hear both of us speaking. I think that was a little confusing. There wasn't much out there to kind of figure out what to do. And then all this step by step process, there was literally like 17 freaking steps. We were up until like 3, 4 in the morning.
Yeah. And, it can take a toll on you. Even me just doing my Pokemon videos with a low quality camera. It's like, it takes very little effort, but even that, it takes time out of you. It takes energy. You're giving all this energy to something that may not, give it back or fulfill those needs for a long time. This is something that I know is going to be a slow start and kind of build on it. And it's exciting to be at the forefront of a new kind of generational creative expression. Like you're just talking, and there's something so fascinating about that. And this is just it's a cool moment, and I'm getting to share, this first podcast, which I definitely want to put up. I don't care if, it's not perfect, but nothing that I do is ever going to be perfect. And I think it's just important to start something and show people that you are working towards a goal, and you want to, do your best. And in this case, I really felt like we went above and beyond trying to make this work a certain way. I was thinking just the Nikon in front of us, positioned a certain way, and us having a conversation was good enough. But it's definitely, it makes a big difference with these microphones. And I don't know, do you think we should get soundproofing? Do you think it should be in a different room, or do you think this room for, the time being works?
I don't mind it being in this room. I just think next time I shouldn't put clothes to wash at the same time. Because I could definitely hear that in the background.
Yeah,
I hear that.
and I can even... Ooh, sorry about that, guys. I'm actually going to take my mic out real quick and then put it back in so I can close the door where the washing machine is going off.
You're still gonna hear it because it's connected to the wall.
Well, you might hear a little something, but let's just.
Yeah. Well. Oh damn.
Now it's back in. Hopefully that did not affect anything. Oh, I guess we left the classical music in the background, which is kind of honestly a nice little touch to like the podcast.
I suppose.
So it's been a long journey to get to this point, but this is just the beginning, and I'm really excited. It's kind of weird, I'm used to just talking louder to the camera to make sure that, it can pick it up and it can hear me, but now I have something that's like it's very sensitive to what I'm trying to actually say, and you really can hear your voice so much better with so much detail. It really, it makes a big difference, and this is exciting because this is something that I can have on the the Pokemon channel for the Pokemon videos that I do as well. I'm actually gonna try and move this. It's so loud.
You are so extra.
Well, I like the idea of having it back here. Can I fit this back here?
You are making such an extra noise.
Yeah, it can fit back here. So this is really what I wanted. I wanted to be able to be comfortable and have conversations like this. This is like the whole point of the podcast, is that we can just plug this stuff in and have a conversation and be relaxing. Like where you're sitting is not where Chris would be sitting. Chris would be sitting on the couch, probably have that mic.
I mean, I would probably sit on the couch, but I don't know. I kind of need to be looking at the laptop at the same time to see what's going on. I don't know if people want to listen to us be talking about how we're sitting and what's going on.
See, I disagree with that. I think people are curious creatures and they don't mind checking in on someone's life. And that's where I have no shame. It's like I'm willing to do a Pokemon YouTube and talk about cards where other people might think nobody cares about my hobby or nobody cares that I collect Pokemon cards. But yeah, nobody has to care about what we're talking about right now, but we're just casually having a conversation talking about kind of this process and what it's been like, and it's raw and it's real and it allows a little insight into like our day-to-day life too. I mean, you're a very kind of shy person, and so this is a lot for you. You know, it's kind of a rare occasion when you'll pop in on a Pokemon video and do an opening with me or do something. You know, those occasionally happen, but not so often. And that's something that I would like to include you more in those videos, but at the same time it's not about making my life your life. You know, you have your own life, you have your own things that you like to do, and I have my hobbies and things that I like to do. But this is something that can allow us to connect and talk on a different level and kind of really be listening to the words that are coming out of our mouth. Like right now, it's late. I'm always running. My mind is always running. I'm always thinking of new things that I can do. And your mind is exhausted. You're tired. You're ready to go to bed. And so I know you. So I can say that. But they don't know that.
They don't.
They just see, well, they see whatever they see. It's not my place to say what they see.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is a really, really nice environment to just kick back and have a conversation about something. And like, I'm so excited to be.
I feel like the title of this podcast should be "If Couples Need Help Talking to Each Other, Create a Podcast." It will help.
Well, I
don't do therapy. Start a podcast.
Well, and I'll, you know, okay. I think this is a great way to have therapy, though. On that point, I think that we could become a lot closer doing podcasts together, talking about subjects. But I think it's like something that I've really wanted to do it. If you end up really wanting to do it with me, that's great. You know, I'm excited for that. But at the same time, it's just like the Pokemon thing.
It's just a way to get to know people a little bit better on different topics that you would probably never mention on your day-to-day.
Well, yeah. That is a big point, but also, like, talking about stuff that you would talk about on a day-to-day basis, like, but having a platform for it and people that possibly care about listening to it. You know, I think with podcasts, it's important to have your theme and pick what you're going to talk about. And I want to talk about, you know, being anti-fragile and what that means, even though I feel like I've already broken it down in the 30 seconds that I talked about it.
You did.
At the beginning of this. But there's got to be more to it than that. And that's the tough thing is, like, you can talk about things and you know, your opinions on them, but it's a whole other thing to just learn something and try and bestow some of that information on other people and spread, you know, good energy, good vibes, and stuff that is just good philosophy, you know, a good way of living. And I think the subject of being fragile versus anti-fragile is like, we live in a very fragile world. And I think especially in the US, where, you know, we have our educational system and it's very different in Europe, it's very different in other parts of the world. Everything is just so structured here, and we're starting to break out of that trend. People are really becoming creatives, and I think, you know, there's a philosopher that said the purpose of life is like entertainment and the arts, and like that's like my life. That's like what I want my life to be. That's part of what Starlight, the bar that we started this year. For you guys who are just now listening to this, we started a bar this year my family and I, and it's kind of a culture center. You know, you've got people playing music and comedy, and it just reminds me of like that philosopher, and like all that matters is the arts and entertainment. You know, having a good time and like expressing creativity. And I think podcasts are a really great, jumping off point for that, because it's like the millennial generation's version of creativity. It's the digital creativity. So much now is just listening to people talk, listening to people just do things. Like, what were you talking about last night? I don't want to be wrong, but you were talking about this thing people were doing for podcasts last night.
Oh, ASMR?
Okay.
Yeah.
And what exactly is that?
Well, it's just like, it's not really like, I wouldn't say it's really, I don't want to cut you off while you're asking me, but I just know the camera cuts off at 20 minutes and we're at 18.
Okay, we'll probably already cut off then.
Yeah.
So, guys, if it hasn't cut off yet, it was good. We can always edit stuff out, but I want to do raw videos, and I think 20 minutes is a really good cap on, like, a conversation.
Yeah.
Anyways, peace out, guys. This is the first podcast thing we've ever done. It's kind of like a test podcast. Maybe we'll just start doing stuff, and we'll just chuck the whole idea of having a theme or philosophies, but maybe I'll just talk about things that I'm learning and thinking about throughout the day. Maybe that's a more organic approach to things. I don't know. I think I'm pretty good at thinking of things off the top of my head, but I wanted to have some structure. And it's just like what we're talking about. We're so used to structure. Anyways, guys, peace out. If you see me in the camera right now, I got my peace sign fingers up.
Bye.
Diana, you gonna look at the camera?
I don't think it's recording anymore.
Okay. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye.